you got niggas like Tariq Nasheed gaining such a following because he's abusive in his verbiage, he's abusive in his rhetoric, and he's here to divide. And his psychology is that of a pimp. All of his books prior to his Black liberation, Black nationalist, Black power movement, all his books was about being a player and a pickup artist. Basically, he was trying to teach you how to be a pimp. Well, we know the pimp to pastor pipeline. A lot of niggas jump out the pimp and go straight into the pastor. That's the best thing smoking. But as things change, as cultures change and evolve.
Let's get back on that. Because like I said, these people want us abused. Now this guy, Dante Kyle, from what I understand, this guy, he was born of a white mother. He has somewhat of an identity crisis. Yeah, Winnie the Punk, he's all loud and sassy. You know, the DNC loves a big old sassy punk. They love that. Y'all ain't outside. Y'all sound like the feds. Y'all ain't even outside. What y'all doing? Oh. Okay. The DNC loves a buck-broken sassy punk. They love that. All right, they love that. To do the dirty work for them. But the thing is, we as foundational Black Americans, we know our identity. We know our identity. This Kyle brother, he was born of a white woman, but she gave him away in 2 days. He was 2 days old, I think. Didn't he say he was like 2 days old? And she gave him up. Had some white mother, gave him up, and he got adopted at like 2 days old or something like that.
Let's start by this. These rumors were made by radical Black racists. Let's just say that. Okay, it's a group of these guys that don't want to hear Jamaican, don't want to hear Guyanese, they don't want to hear a Black guy that ain't down with them. Right? So their job is to criticize anybody who don't look like them or who ain't Black American.
Who are these guys?
You want me to say their name? We're gonna give them too much clout. The FBA, Foundational Black Authority.
Foundational Black American.
Whoever the f these broke niggas.
Look, the beef between Tariq Nasheed and Dante Kyle, at first glance, it might look like some other podcast drama, some podcast beef, some Twitter fights, you know, people making videos going back and forth, just more Black people arguing online, right? I don't really think so. I think it's much deeper than that. Because here's the thing, if you actually pay attention to what's really going on, this little beef or whatever they got going on, this goes way deeper than Tariq or Dante or even the Grits and Eggs podcast or anything. This is about something we keep coming back to generation after generation, because once again, we're arguing about identity and we're arguing about who gets to speak for us, about who really is quote unquote us or who isn't, and who counts and who doesn't count. And yeah, the clips are going viral. They probably will get a lot of clicks, a lot of views. Gonna be a lot of videos like this one being made about these two going against each other. People are gonna start picking sides. The algorithm just gonna eat all this up. But you know what's not changing? The system that's keeping us down. They're probably laughing at us at this point. The wealth gap is not changing. The power gap and all of this, none of it's changing. It's really stupid. And to add insult to injury, all this is happening on Black History Month. Do y'all think this is a coincidence? I think not, but we're not gonna get into conspiracies or nothing in this video. But if you think about it, and you think that this is just a podcast beef, I'm telling you right now, you're missing what's really happening behind the scenes and what's happening right in our face. Because the same argument, it shows up every generation. And every single time, it costs us something we can't get back. And that is our unity. That's us being together. And today we're here to break some of this stuff down, because I ain't really liking all this, to be honest with you. This FBA versus the whatever, the immigrants and whatever. It's just getting really weird talk right now. And it's very divisive. This is from Just Say Anything TV. See y'all soon. Cue the intro.
You're not just saying that?
I never just say anything.
Here's what I need for you to understand first. The people supporting FBA, they're not crazy. They're not making things up. They just want a sense of belonging. They want to rep their people too. And the people who's criticizing FBA, some of the more radical ones, they're not sellouts or haters or tethers as well either. Most people on both sides are dealing with real pain and real frustration. We all have a pain from being ignored for decades, from watching your history get erased or watered down, from feeling like unless your story fits someone else's narrative, it just doesn't matter. And me being the FBA, or whatever you want to call it, having a lineage coming from Black America, I get exactly where they're coming from. But it's really not the time to be divided in anything. I don't think we need to be pointing fingers or trying to say anything. Anyone who's trying to progress all people or Black people, no matter where they're from in the world, we really need to come together, because the more we fight, the more they're going to be behind the scenes doing whatever they want to do. We all been colonized, or we all been going through something when it comes to these people. So some more worse than others, some more recent, some have to fight more than others. But at the end of the day, we all trying to progress as humans, and we're trying to all progress as Black people. So, but let me be clear about this video. I'm not here to drag anybody. I'm not picking sides or who's scoring points or anything like that. I don't even know why we even talking about this, to be honest with you. I thought we was on the same team, but seems there's a lot of people trying to divide. It's looking like it's very calculated, and there's someone on the sidelines putting all this stuff together, because it's really not making sense. And I'm not trying to create a video to figure out who's more Black or who's more pro-Black or anything like that. It's like, hey, are you with us or you not? End of the day. But what I want to talk about is why this argument keeps happening. It's really just weird and just counterproductive to me. Why it gets so heated so fast, and why, if we don't actually slow down and think about what's really going on, it's going to keep pulling us backwards instead of pushing us forward. And we're just going to keep going in the same cycle forever. We all got to look in the mirror and figure out what's really going on here. Alright, let's break down what the FBA movement is actually trying to say, because a lot of people either don't get it or they're not trying to get it on purpose. At its core, the FBA movement argues that it's pretty straightforward. It is Black Americans who descended from the US and chattel slavery are a distinct group. That's their lineage. That's where they started from. Not just culturally, but historically, politically, and economically. Most people in the FBA know that all creations came from Africa. I don't think a lot of them are trying to say that. Some are, and that's a whole nother video for a whole nother day. So here's how I see it. Black Americans didn't choose to come here. We were kidnapped, enslaved. We worked free for centuries, and then, even after slavery ended, you had Jim Crow laws, redlining, convict leasing, mass incarceration, broken promises over and over again. They still owe us a 40 acres and a mule. All that stuff. So when FBA supporters say we need to be recognized as a specific group, they're not trying to be divisive. At least most of them are not. They're saying our experience is unique, and we can't keep letting it get lumped in with some vague global Black category. And I do understand that, to be honest with you, because when they start busting down money, or if they ever did, or if they talk about slavery, it muddies up the water, because they don't know who's who, and they don't know who to give the money to. Not saying they'll ever do something like that, but I'm just giving an example on how these people, or how the FBAs are trying to make themselves distinct, because a lot of other people do that same thing as well too. Some of the people in the FBA might look at it as being a double standard. Think about it. Jamaican Americans, they rep the Jamaican flag. They still consider themselves Black from what I can see. Nigerian Americans, they rep Nigeria, but they consider themselves African, right? Jewish people, they protect their lineage. Italian Americans do the same thing. Nobody calls them divisive on any of that. But when Black Americans say, no, I'm Black and I'm from America, because how many generations do you have to be there before you can call something your home? Yes, we know that everything came from Africa, like I said before, but how many generations do you have to go down to say I'm from here? You have to go 13 generations, and then, was it 5 generations? Like, what is the cutoff point? Because there's a lot of people from Scotland or something, they 1 generation in, 2 generations in, they call themselves Americans. But people like from FBA, they'll say, they'll be 10 generations in, and then they say, oh, you're not American, or you can't say that you're just American. So I understand the concept behind this whole thing, but that same contradiction of a lot of people trying to call out the FBAs is what fuels the anger that's behind the group. For many FBA supporters, it feels like everybody gets to do exactly what they want and be proud of who they are and what they're about. But when they're trying to do the same thing, they're told to shut up and fall in line, or y'all trying to be divisive and we need to all be together. I believe we can all be together and they can still rep their side too. Not like they're trying to talk down on you. And there are some that are trying to talk down on other people. Those are not the ones I'm rocking with. Because like I say, there are some being divisive, but I get it. The frustration is real. And just ignoring it or dismissing it doesn't make it go away. Now, Tariq Nasheed didn't create this frustration. He just tapped into something that was already there. A lot of Black Americans feel like their specific struggles get watered down all the time. If you talk about slavery, they'll be like, it's a long time ago. If you talk about Jim Crow, they'll talk about it was fake. If you talk about mass incarceration, they'll say, y'all shouldn't have did the crime. Every single time someone Black talks about something, they get dismissed. A lot of Black Americans feel like their specific struggles get watered down, like the horrors of their ancestors, what they went through. They just get put into like a footnote somewhere, and people are like, hey, stop talking about that. But we can talk about any battle or 1776 and the battle of this, and we know all this stuff we learned in history class, but it's the white history. But that's for another video. Like, their political demands get absorbed into these big, vague coalitions that sounds good, but never actually deliver anything concrete or specifically for Black people. A lot of times when Black people fight for things, what happens is everyone else gets the benefits and the Black people get the short end of the stick every time. So this is why they're trying to create something distinctly for them. So I believe when people like Tariq Nasheed says things like this is about lineage, not just skin color, that resonate with people who feel invisible, people who feel like they're in their own country, but nobody actually sees them from their own country or recognize their history in their country. Especially when reparations or the conversation or the topic at the time. I mean, things start getting really vague when we start talking about reparations because, like I said before, people don't know where to go, who to give the money to, so they'll always have an excuse. When accountability becomes this abstract concept, when it becomes like everybody benefits from Black American struggle, our culture, our movements, our sacrifices, except Black Americans ourselves. So for his supporters, Tariq is saying out loud what they've been thinking for years. And that's exactly why just dismissing him or calling him a grifter really doesn't work. I mean, you could talk about some of his past things and the things he did and all this other stuff, being a pimp and whatever. Cool. Malcolm X had a past too, and he tried to change his people. So we really can't say the stuff that he did in the past is literally his future or things like that. Because if he's been showing good work or showing that he's changed and showing things and it's not just something he did that was just egregious, I guess. Or some people can say that, him being a pimp is egregious, but yeah, I digress. But still, he's showing the work because even if you don't like him, you do have to understand that he's speaking to something real that people are really feeling. Now, here's the part Dante, Kyle, and others push back. And honestly, their concerns are worth hearing too. Dante isn't saying Black American history doesn't matter. He's not saying lineage pride is wrong or we shouldn't acknowledge what makes our experience unique. What he's warning us about is this conversation and how it's being framed, how the language is being used, and how it's being divisive. From his perspective, and I do think it's fair, some of the FBA rhetoric starts to feel less like protection and more like separation, less like strategy and more like suspicion, less like we have a specific history and more like y'all aren't really a part of this. And here's why this is really concerning. Once you start drawing hard lines inside of Blackness itself, you start creating division that can be exploited. And you know who's going to exploit it every time. I don't even have to say it. You're making it easier for the same system that oppresses all of us to just pick us off one by one. History has shown us over and over, Black people don't lose because we lack pride. We lose because we lack unity combined with strategy. So Dante's basically saying, look, you can absolutely acknowledge and honor Black American lineage. You can and should fight for reparations and specific recognition, but you can't do this without treating other Black people like they're outsiders or enemies. Because once identity turns into hierarchy, once it becomes about more valid or more deserving, the conversation stops being about justice and it stops being about liberation and starts being about something that's way smaller, and that never ends well. But on the other side, for the FBAs, they're probably thinking like, hey, All these people drew a line in the sand on us as well too, and a lot of these people look down on us. But hey, we have to forgive, guys, or not even be forgiven, but let's just try to work together. If somebody ain't do bad to you and they trying to, show you a better way, then maybe we should just figure it out. But here's why I think both sides keep missing each other. Black Americans or FBA supporters hear criticism and they think they're trying to erase us. They don't want us to have our own identity. Critics hear FBA language and they think, well, they're trying to divide us. They're creating unnecessary separation. Both of those reactions, they're emotional. And honestly, both are understandable given in context. But here's the problem. Emotion without actual listening just build walls and we all gonna lose. One side is asking for specific recognition, for acknowledgement, for a seat at the table or their own damn table or their own establishment. That's specifically theirs. The other side is warning about what happens when we fragment, when we put these walls up against people that could be allies, about collective power and not repeating the mistakes of the past. And instead of slowing down and actually hearing each other, social media speeds everything up. Everyone making think pieces and videos just to say, I'm on this side, I'm on that side, forget Dante Kyle, forget Tariq Nasheed, blah, 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 fuck this nigga, fuck that nigga, whatever the case may be. 30-second clips, they replace the full context of what's really going on. The tone replaced actual meaning, and outrage just replace any chance of actual real understanding. But alright, here's the real question that I think keeps getting avoided, and that's the most important one. Does this argument actually help move black people closer to power or actually winning in this whole thing? Or does it just move us closer to feeling right? Because there is a big difference to me. Clarity feels good. Finding who you are feels great. And I 100% agree on that. Having pride in your lineage feels great too. I believe in that too. But power is what really changes lives. Feeling right gets you likes and gets you retweets. That's cool. It might get you a few dollars in your pocket or something, but power gets you policy changes, economic leverage, and actual protection. And here's what's worrying me. If defining lineage doesn't come with a real plan, actual policy proposals, organized movements, economic strategy, or coalition building, then what are we really doing? Are we really building power? Or are we just arguing over labels? Because labels don't protect anyone. Labels don't get your grandma's health care. It don't get you anything. It don't get you reparations. Labels don't stop police violence. Labels don't close the wealth gap. It don't get you nothing. Strategy does. Organization does. Power does. Look, I think a healthier version of this conversation is actually possible. It would sound something like this. Yes, Black Americans have a unique lineage and history. Our experience with chattel slavery, Jim Crow, and systemic racism in this country is specific and deserves specific recognition. And also, yes, language matters, tone matters, and we can afford to create unnecessary fragments inside of our communities and with us. When we're already the most vulnerable people, or one of, to be honest with you. Both things can be true at the same time though. This doesn't mean we have to be either or. It doesn't mean we have to be all or nothing. But social media doesn't reward nuance. It doesn't reward balance. It rewards being extreme. It rewards outrage. It rewards the most inflammatory takes. And that's exactly why it keeps us stuck. So at the end of the day, Black people don't lack identity. We got plenty of that. What we lack is the ability to move in the same direction, even if we don't agree on everything. We don't need less pride. We need more strategy. We don't need fake unity where we all pretend that we agree and we kumbaya and whatever. No. But we do need honest conversations without letting ego run the show. So before you pick a side in all of this, before you share a clip or anything like that, or retweet or repost something on your Instagram, before you jump into the comments to defend Tariq or Dante or whoever's talking about this conversation, ask yourself one simple question. Does this move us closer to actual power, closer to changing any law, building any wealth, or protecting our communities? Or does it just move us closer to another argument, that goes viral and then it disappears, and you got all this resentment in your heart to people that's in your community that look like you. Probably wouldn't even know if you looked at them that they're not from where you're from, because history already shown us that division costs and it declines us as people. And the real question is whether we'll finally be ready to learn from it, or we just keep repeating this movie over, and over, or if we're going to just keep having the same argument every generation while the people with the actual real power is sitting back watching and laughing at us. The choice is yours. Y'all let me know in the comments below. That's been my video for today. This been Nish from Just Say Anything TV. Are y'all tuning in to this Dante Cal, Tariq Nasheed beef? Do y'all think it's even necessary? I think it's all some bullshit, to be honest with you. Very divisive, very just pointless, but y'all let me know in the comments below. Once again, this is from Just Say Anything TV. See y'all in the next video. Thank y'all for made it this far. I'll hold it down. Peace.
Just say anything. Like, share, and subscribe.
You're not just saying that?
I never just say anything.